Holy crap. Kit Klarenberg, Gray Zone. Gray Zone EU, by the way. He is, or Gray Zone UK. He's great. Follow him if you're not. He's also on Substack. kitklarenberg.substack.com. And that's where this came from. Kit's newsletter. This came across my email a few days ago, or maybe last week, and I was like, nobody noticed this. And here's the funny thing is that it's actually called Psiphon, like with a PSI.
Yeah.
So what is this? Beware Psiphon, CIA tool fueling global protests. Like, okay. So this is a secure and high performance Psiphon. It's a secure and high performance app. Psiphon provides open access to the uncensored internet for millions of people around the world with 150 million plus downloads. It's a VPN. By the way, Kit,
I feel like I don't want to call it Siphon. I want to call it Psiphon. Is now forever Psiphon. Not allowed to call it anything else.
See, what's funny to me
spelled it weird
is that Psiphon, the first part of the PSI in Psi is like psychological. And if you take off the P,
yes,
it's literally the word siphon, like they're going to siphon your information. Oh, that does not sound like something I want to be part of.
Maybe.
So, all right. What's he talking about? Ever since foreign-backed riots broke out in Iran mid-September, Western news outlets frequently drawn attention to Psiphon. Of course they have. The free open-source smartphone app computer program allows users to circumvent national restrictions on websites and online resources, helping troublemakers organize and coordinate their activities and send and receive messages to and from the outside world. Right? In the process, Psiphon has received untold amounts of highly influential free advertising, and some Iranians, along with the residents of West Asia more widely, will no doubt have been encouraged to download the software.
Right.
However, not a single mainstream source has acknowledged Siphon's spectral origins, let alone the malign aims it serves, and sinister purposes to which it can be put by its sponsors in the U.S. intel community.
Spectral.
Oh, he's
he
so
means
good.
spookies.
Psiphon was launched in 2009, avowedly intended to support anti-government elements in countries the company considers, quote, enemies of the internet. The resource employs a combination of secure communication and obfuscation technologies, including VPNs, web proxies, and secure shell protocols, which is SSH, which allows users to effectively set up their own private servers that their own government can't monitor.
Okay, pause. Enemies of the internet,
right,
is like
axis of evil.
They're fighting for the internet now. But it's also like enemies of the state. Like, that's weird. Okay.
Right? Over Siphon's lifetime, it's been funded and distributed by a variety of spook-adjacent organizations. For example, it was for several years promoted by ASL-19, funded by Iranian expat Ali Bangi in 2019 and 2013 to capitalize on vast U.S. funding flowing to internet freedom initiatives in the Arab Spring's wake. And here's a picture I've got a picture of Ali Bangi later on. 2011, June, New York Times probe into Washington's internet freedom push concluded that all these endeavors served to deploy shadow internet and mobile phone systems dissidents can use to communicate outside the reach of governments in countries like Iran, Syria, and Libya. Basically spying operations for us. Bangi's proximity to the U.S. government was made abundantly clear when in 2016 he attended the White House's annual celebration of Nowruz, invariably a coming out party for elite state-sponsored regime change activists. Such high-level appearances, along with his status as a permanent fixture at tech conferences and digital rights events, cemented his place as a rock star figure within the Iranian diaspora. 2016, remember who was still in office? His name was Barack. That was not a Trump thing. That was Barack Obama in office then. And there is Ali Bangi. Bangi was nonetheless forced to resign from ASL-19 in 2018 after he ended up in court in Canada on charges of sexual assault and forcible imprisonment. Nice guy. A resultant profile in tech industry magazine The Verge alleged that he had fostered a culture of widespread drug use, sexism, harassment, and bullying within the organization. Sounds like a fun place to work. No. On several occasions, he was aggressive and even violent towards staff, with female employees a particular target of his ire. Go figure. Whoa.
Like Blizzard.
With him and ASL 19 out of the picture, in 2019, Psiphon began receiving millions from the Open Technology Fund, the OTF, which was created 7 years earlier by Radio Free Asia, which in turn was founded by the CIA in 1948,
CIA.
following official authorization to engage in black operations. Actually, at that time, of course, CIA was OSS, I believe. This included propaganda, economic warfare, sabotage, subversion, and
very similar to OTF.
Assistance to underground resistance movements. So they're providing technology to underground dissidents. In 2007, CIA's official website ranked RFA and other psychological warfare initiatives such as Radio Free Europe and Voice of America among the longest running and most successful covert action campaigns it ever mounted. Yes, guys, Voice of America, VOA, radio, internet, everything, CIA sponsored American propaganda. Straight up American propaganda. Yeah.
No.
I know.
You don't say.
Today, Radio Free Asia is an asset of the U.S. Agency for Global Media, which is USAGM, which is funded by the U.S. Congress to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars every year. In August 2018, its CEO acknowledged, quote, the organization's global priorities reflect U.S. national security interests, unquote. Of course they do. OTF was one of the several malign initiatives spun out of internet freedom. Individuals intimately involved in making this desire a reality are under no illusion as to the true raison d'etre that they're serving. Right? In February 2015, Gillian York, an OTF advisory board member, stated she fundamentally believed internet freedom was at heart an agenda of regime change. Well, yeah, because if you can control the messaging in and out of the country and you can block anybody that's questioning any kind of authority out there, yeah, you're going to be able to control narratives and push down uprisings and get rid of dissidents, which is what they've been doing. Of course, OTF, being the brainchild of a U.S. Intel created psychological warfare platform, illuminates a key purpose of Psiphon, namely ensuring citizens of countries in the crosshairs of ongoing U.S.-led regime change efforts can continue to access Western state propaganda. Of course. In November 2019, USAGM fact sheet on tools supported by OTF gives top billing to Psiphon. So, of course, let's everybody run and use it. Signal too, by the way. So, examples of tools supported by OTF. And here you go. Here's a list. Any look familiar to you?
F-Droid. Yep. Tor.
Snowflake. NoScript.
Uni.
Right. So Tor browser. All of these things are supported by OTF. And what does that mean? OTF provides emergency support to independent media outlets and journalists facing digital attacks to get back online and mitigate future attacks. Over 2 billion people use OTF-supported technology daily. More than 2/3 of all mobile users globally have technology incubated by OTF on their device. I think I have Signal on mine. But other than that, I don't have anything else on mine from that list. So, quote, OTF, like I said, provides that. I think I just read that whole thing. Okay, provides USAGM networks with assistance to protect their content online and ensure it is resistant to censorship. How interesting. For example, when USAGM news sites were abruptly blocked in Pakistan, OTF created mirror sites to ensure that USAGM content remained available for key audiences. OTF provides them. Of course they did. So they provided a secure intranet that got around even country blocks and censors. OTF provides emergency support to independent media outlets. That's the hilarious. And journalists facing digital attacks to get back online and mitigate future attacks. Independent how? Like when they're supported and paid for by CIA. In May 2020, OTF report on highlights and challenges of the year to date. Likewise notes, veteran circumvention tool provider Psiphon ensures USAGM published content, including Voice of America and Farsi, can reach audiences in countries in which it's banned. And there's Siphon's advice on how to access BBC News. In March, a dedicated section of the BBC website, published following the British state broadcaster's prohibition by Moscow, offered an explanatory guide to how local residents in Russia can download the app via Android, Apple, and Windows in English, Russian, and Ukrainian. Psiphon was moreover promoted by BBC Press Office's official Twitter account at the same time. There it is. March 4th. I think I published a Substack that day too. Right? And there's the advice, also published March 4th in multiple language. Should users find it difficult to access Psiphon via established app stores, they were invited to send a blank message to a listed email address to receive a direct and safe download link. From whom, may I ask? My guess it would be somewhere residing in Langley or somewhere
Jim
in
at
Virginia.
Langley. Yeah.
In Iran, such utility is no doubt similarly invaluable given hostile media such as the BBC and RFA paint an utterly one-sided picture of the unfolding unrest, framing violent, incendiary actions by anti-government elements as peaceful, while wholly ignoring large-scale pro-government demonstrations. Another core Siphon strength, from the perspective of Western power, is the resource funnels all user data to and through centralized servers owned by, of course, the company itself. While users' activities on the network might be shielded from the prying eyes of their own government, Psiphon can track what sites they are visiting and their communications in real time. This allows foreign actors to keep an unblinking eye trained on protesters and protest movements and respond accordingly. How interesting. So we got the end of this. Siphon's meddling in Iran is now a long-established matter of public record. Back in 2013, the company published a blog hailing the particularly big impact it had made in the country, coinciding with their presidential election. How about that? While acknowledging that Tehran had always been a big challenge for us, Psiphon boasted that its software stayed available consistently during this time, despite repeated attacks to severely throttle its operation. Wow. What? Sorry. That none of this background has emerged in any of the countless fawning mainstream puff pieces on Psiphon is shocking, but unsurprising, of course. After all, Western news outlets stand to materially benefit from a U.S.-run protection racket projecting their agitprop to countless millions of people in secret. Right? And in becoming actively complicit in a U.S. regime change operation, mainstream journalists are all less likely to acknowledge the reality of what's happening in Tehran, why and who and what stands to materially benefit from the government's ouster. Yeah.